You know what the real battle is. It's not out there. It's not your job. It's not your family. It's not your situation. The real battle is right here. Inside, there's a version of you that keeps talking, keeps whispering in your ear, and it's been running your life for way too long. That weak version of you, yeah. I said it, the one that always says I'm tired, the one that says maybe tomorrow, the one that keeps making excuses and justifying failure. You've got to call it out. You've got to see it for what it is. That version of you is an imposter. It's not the real you. It's the scared you. It's the broken you. It's the survival mode you. But here's the problem. Some of you have made it your identity. You let that weak voice dictate your choices, your attitude, your hustle. You've given it permission to sit in the driver's seat of your life. But today I'm telling you, enough is enough. You can't let the imposter live another day. Listen, you were not born with fear. You were not born with self-doubt. That stuff was learned. Life threw pain at you. People walked out. Opportunities fell through. Maybe you failed once and now you think that's your ceiling. That's the lie. That's the false image that got planted in your spirit. And every time you look in the mirror, that version of you, the one full of regret, full of insecurity, full of shame, it's been staring back at you like it owns the place. But let me tell you something, it doesn't own you. It never did. You have to decide to kill that weak version of yourself. You have to expose it. And I'm not talking about pretending like it's not there. No, no, no. I'm talking about dragging it into the light. You've got to name it. Is it fear of failure? Is it addiction to comfort? Is it laziness in disguise? Is it bitterness from a past hurt that you never healed from? Whatever it is, you've got to look it dead in the eye and say, you're done. Let me make this plain. That weak version of you, it's the reason you keep quitting. It's the reason you keep starting over. It's the reason your dream feels so far away. Because every time things get tough, it shows up and says, let's just play it safe. Every time you're about to break through, it pulls you back and says, don't go too far now. What if you fail? What if they laugh? What if they leave you? And you believe it. You believe it like it's gospel. But here's what I need you to understand. That voice is lying. The real you, the warrior, the leader, the giant slayer, that version is buried under years of noise, years of negativity, years of settling. But it's still there. It's still breathing. And it's waiting for you to show up. Not halfway, not on weekends, not when it's convenient, but every day like your life depends on it, because it does. I need you to think about this. Who are you when nobody's watching? Who are you when it's 5 a.m. and the bed feels good? Who are you when the plan fails and there's nobody to blame but yourself? That's where the war is won. Not in front of the lights. Not on social media. Not with likes and applause. It's in those dark, quiet, lonely moments when you have to choose between your future and your feelings. That weak version of you thrives in silence. It thrives when you stay comfortable, when you avoid challenges, when you say, this is just who I am. No, it's not who you are. It's who you've allowed yourself to be. There's a difference. And if you don't confront it, it will cost you everything. Some of y'all are praying for success, dreaming about greatness, visualizing freedom, but you're still negotiating with your weakness. You're still giving it space in your schedule. Still feeding it with your time, your habits, your language. You say, I want to change, but you're still loyal to the version of you that doesn't want to grow. That ends now. I'm telling you, you got to make it personal. You've got to hate that version of you enough to let it die. You've got to stop entertaining it. Stop talking like it. Stop dressing like it. Stop walking into rooms with that same defeated energy and expecting people to believe you've changed. Kill it. Cut it off. Do the work. Get uncomfortable. Get up earlier. Train harder. Speak life. Speak discipline, because you're not going to rise until that other version of you is buried. It's you versus you. It always has been. Make the decision. Kill that weak version of yourself down. Let me tell you something real quick. Weakness is not something you were born with. It ain't some generational curse you can't break. It's not something that was written in your DNA. Weakness is a choice. Yeah, I said it. It's a decision. It's the moment you get hit. And instead of pushing through, you sit down. It's when life throws fire your way and you decide to melt instead of standing in it and letting it forge you. See, too many people out here are wearing weakness like it's a part of their personality. That's just how I am. No, that's how you chose to be. You chose comfort over challenge. You chose fear over faith. You chose to be average when you had everything inside of you to be elite. I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm trying to wake you up. I'm trying to shake something in your soul because you've been walking around like you don't know who you are. You've got power, but you keep pretending you're powerless. You've got gifts, but you keep hiding behind your wound. You've got fire, but you keep acting like a spark. Why? Because you made weakness your identity instead of a phase to overcome. Let's be real, there were moments in your life where you were hurt. Moments you got let down. People failed you. Life disappointed you. You were wounded, but instead of healing, you settled. Instead of fighting through it, you adjusted to the pain. And now you've built your routines, your habits, your mindset around a false version of yourself. You made the temporary permanent. But hear me, weakness is not who you are. It's who you became when you gave up on who you were called to be. I've been there. I know what it's like to feel like you got it in you. I know what it's like to be tired of trying, to feel like every time you take a step forward, life punches you in the chest and says, go back. But I also know what it feels like to fight, to say, not today, to stand up when everything in your body says, sit down. That's where strength is born, not when it's easy, but when you choose to keep going, when everything around you says, stop. Some of why all are looking for strength, like it's something you're going to find on the outside, in a book, in a podcast, in a quote. But strength is not found, it's built. And you build it by doing the opposite of what your weakness wants. Weakness says sleep in. Strength says get up. Weakness says take a break. Strength says take the next step. Weakness says you've done enough. Strength says you've got more in you. You don't need to feel strong to act strong. Stop waiting on the motivation to hit you. Stop waiting on the perfect mood, the perfect time, the perfect support system. Do it anyway. That's how you kill weakness. You outwork it. You starve it. You bury it under discipline, consistency, and faith. And let me tell you what else. Weakness grows when you justify it. Every time you say, well, I didn't have the same chances they had. Every time you say, I'm just not wired like that. Every time you say, it's too late for me, you feed your weakness and silence your potential. Let me ask you something. When did you stop fighting? When did you stop believing that being stuck is normal? When did you get so comfortable that you stopped challenging yourself? That's the moment weakness took over. But here's the good news. Just like weakness was a decision, so is strength. You can flip the script. You can wake up tomorrow and decide, I'm not living like this anymore. You can say, I may have been soft yesterday, but today I'm different. And guess what? You don't need permission to change. You don't need approval to transform. All you need is a decision. You've been walking around with this heavy burden of limitation like there's a ceiling over your life. But the only thing that's been holding you back is that weak version of you that keeps voting against your greatness. It's time to outvote it. It's time to drown it in action. Because action is louder than excuses. Don't you dare let another day go by convincing yourself you're not capable. Don't you dare play small because someone told you that's all you'd ever be. They don't know what's in you. They didn't build you. They didn't see the nights you survived. They don't know the hell you walked through just to be here right now. You're not weak. You've just been living beneath your standard. And I get it, life will try to convince you you're nothing special, that you're replaceable, that your story doesn't matter. But if you're still breathing, then you still have a fight to win. You still have a version of you that the world needs to meet. But that version is hiding behind weakness. And the only way to get to it is to make a choice. No more playing small. No more excuses. No more fake limits. Starting today, I choose strength. Weakness is a decision. So is greatness. Choose that you've got to stop feeding what's killing you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Every time you wake up and pick up your phone before you pick up your purpose, you're feeding the wrong thing. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, distraction over discipline, pleasure over purpose, you're feeding the weak version of you. And listen to me, whatever you feed grows. Some of you keep asking, why am I not seeing growth? Why am I still stuck in the same place? Why do I feel so far from my potential? It's not that you don't have potential. It's not that you're not gifted. You've got everything you need, but the problem is you keep watering weeds instead of planting seeds. You're feeding your fears. You're feeding your doubts. You're feeding your bad habits, your toxic negative habit, and then you wonder why the strong version of you is starving. You can't build a lion on a rabbit's diet. You can't expect greatness when you keep feeding mediocrity. You keep giving your time to people who drain you. You keep giving your energy to things that don't move you forward. You keep binge watching shows but won't binge read your purpose. You scroll for hours. That means compare yourself to people you don't even know when you wonder why you're exhausted, unmotivated, and stuck. Stop feeding what doesn't serve you. Stop nurturing the very things that are holding you back. You're letting your potential starve while you keep giving your best to your worst. And I get it. It's easier to feed the comfort. It feels good. It's familiar. You know what you're getting? But it's killing the version of you that's supposed to take over. Let me ask you something. What are you really feeding every day? What's your diet look like? Not just physical. I'm talking mental, emotional, spiritual. What are you watching? What are you listening to? Who are you talking to? Because if you show me your habits, I'll show you your future. Some of why all are full of anxiety, not because you're broken, but because your spirit's starving. Your dream is starving. Your discipline is starving. Your focus is starving. Why? Because every single day you're feeding everything except the thing that matters. You're spending your best hours in distraction and your leftover energy on your destiny. You're giving priority to what should have been optional and giving scraps to what should be sacred. That's why the weak version of you still lies, because you keep giving it a seat at the table. You want to kill that weak version of yourself. Then you've got to stop feeding it. That voice in your head that says, take it easy, that says you don't have to go that hard, that says you'll start tomorrow, stop listening to it. Don't entertain it. Don't flirt with it. Don't negotiate with it. Cut it off at the source. You know exactly what triggers it. You know what environments make you lazy. You know which friends pull you back. You know what behaviors set you off track. So why are you still feeding them? Every single day you have two beasts inside you. One is driven. The other is distracted. One is disciplined. The other is lazy. One wants to rise. The other wants to stay the same. The one you feed is the one that wins. It's that simple. You've got to make some hard choices. You've got to break some patterns. You've got to say no to some people. You've got to put your phone down. You've got to go to bed earlier. You've got to read what you don't feel like reading. Listen to what challenges you. Sit in silence and confront the parts of you that need to change. And let me say this, starving the weak version of you is not going to feel good at first. It's going to feel like you're losing something. But you're not losing strength, you're breaking addiction. You're not losing identity, you're shedding the false one. You're not missing out, you're moving up. People will say you've changed. Good. That's the point. They'll say you're different. That's the goal. Because the old you, the one that needed validation, the one that made excuses, the one that quit when it got tough, doesn't deserve to sit at the table with the future you. You've got to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Protect your mornings. Protect your focus. Protect your circle. If it doesn't feed your future, it's feeding your failure. And if you don't starve it, it's going to grow into something that will take over your life. Look, I'm not telling you this to motivate you. I'm telling you this because I've seen it. I've lived it. I know what it feels like to be chained to a version of yourself you know isn't you. I know what it feels like to want to rise but keep falling, because you're feeding the very thing that's keeping you down. But here's the good news that can stop today. You have the power to redirect your energy. You have the power to change your appetite. Start feeding your purpose. Start feeding your focus. Feed your faith. Feed your growth. Feed your habits that align with the life you say you want. Starve your distractions. Starve your fears. Starve your doubt. Starve your excuses. Because the strongest version of you is hungry and it's time to eat. Pain, that's what we run from, right? That's what we try to avoid. But I'm telling you today that pain you keep dodging, that's the place your power is hiding. The weak version of you wants to stay comfortable, wants to stay safe, wants to keep everything easy and predictable. But the strong version of you, the real you, that version is built in pain. It's shaped in pressure. It's formed in the fire. See, you've been told pain is something to escape. But I'm telling you, pain is something you embrace. Because growth doesn't come from ease. Greatness doesn't come from safety. And change, real, lasting, deep-rooted change, it doesn't happen until you get uncomfortable. Until something hurts. Until you stretch beyond what you thought you could handle and realize, oh, I was built for this. Most people don't grow because they're addicted to comfort. They don't want to feel that sting. They don't want to sweat. They don't want to cry. They don't want to fail. But listen to me, pain is not the enemy. Pain is the teacher. Pain is the gym for your character. Every time life puts pressure on you, you've got two choices: fold or get stronger. And that weak version of you, it folds every single time. You train yourself to lean into the pain, to sit in it, to learn from it, to let it do its work. Because pain has a purpose, but only if you face it. The problem is you want elevation without struggle. You want success without scars. You want breakthrough without breaking down, but that's not how this works. You want to grow. Then you've got to get uncomfortable. You've got to invite the pressure. You've got to show up to the pain and say, let's go. Think about it. When do muscles grow? When they tear. When does the mind sharpen? When it's challenged. When does the soul expand? When it survives something that tried to break it. You cannot skip this part. There is no shortcut around the fire, only through it. Some of you keep starting over because every time the heat rises, you back off. You retreat. You tell yourself, maybe this isn't for me. No, it is for you. You just haven't built the capacity yet to handle it. And the only way to build that capacity, embrace the pain. You've got to understand pain doesn't mean something's wrong. It means something's working. It means the old version of you is dying. And yeah, that hurts. It's supposed to. Just shedding layers of doubt, fear, pride, laziness in that process ain't pretty. But it's necessary. It's holy work. It's transformational. So stop running from it. Stop praying for it to go away and start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Stop crying over the discomfort and start using it as fuel. Pain is information. It's telling you where the work needs to happen. It's showing you where you're soft, where you're stuck, where you've settled. And you've got to be bold enough to listen to it. Listen, you will never outgrow the need for pain. Not if you're serious about evolving. Every new level you want to reach will demand a deeper level of discipline. And that means more pressure. That means more resistance. That means facing things in you that you thought you dealt with. But it's worth it. Because every time you choose to grow through pain, the weak version of you loses power. Some of why all are praying for strength, avoiding the process that builds it. You want confidence, but you don't want to face rejection. You want clarity, but you won't sit with your confusion. You want peace, but you keep dodging the war inside. That's not how it works. You've got to get in the ring. You've got to take the hits. You've got to feel every ounce of it and then keep swinging. You know why the strong version of you is quiet right now? Because it's waiting for the fire to wake it up. It's sleeping under layers of comfort, buried under years of excuses and numbing habits. But you start stepping into the pain, I'm telling you, you're going to meet a version of you didn't even know existed. A version that doesn't quit. A version that doesn't get shaken by pressure. A version that gets stronger every time life tries to knock you down. You don't kill weakness by avoiding pain. You kill it by walking into it and refusing to break. You kill it by choosing the hard path every single time, even when nobody sees it, even when it feels unfair, even when you're tired and sore and sick of it. That's how warriors are made. That's how winners are born. That's how the old you dies and the new you rises. I know it hurts. I know you're tired. I know part of you just wants relief, but don't settle for relief when you were made for resurrection. Don't run to comfort when you're standing inches away from your calling. Pain is the price. Pay it. Let it stretch you. Let it shape you. Let it make you unrecognizable to you were yesterday. Because every time you choose pain on purpose, every time you stare down discomfort and say, I'm not going anywhere, you are making a declaration, I'm not my weakness anymore. That's how you grow. That's how you win that. You've got to rewire the way you think. You can't kill the weak version of you if you're still thinking like them. That old mindset, the one that's full of doubt, full of fear, full of excuses, is not going to take you where you're trying to go. That mindset was built for survival, not success. That mindset was built to keep you safe, not to help you soar. And until you change how you think, you'll keep repeating the same cycle, stuck in the same patterns, getting the same results. It starts with your thoughts. You can't talk power and still think powerless. You can't speak victory and think like a victim. You want to rise, but your mind is still dragging chains from the past. You want to build, but your foundation is still cracked from everything you never healed. That weak version of you, they're not just in your habits, they're in your thoughts. They're in the voice that says you can't do it. They're in the hesitation that shows up when it's time to take a risk. They're in the lie that whispers you're not enough. That version has to die in the mind before it can die in your life. You ever wonder why you keep sabotaging your progress? Why you'll make one move forward and then fall right back? It's not because you don't want it. It's because your mind still doesn't believe it's possible. You've been programmed to settle, programmed to shrink, programmed to play it safe. And the worst part, you didn't even realize it was happening. School taught you to follow, not lead. Life taught you to adjust, not evolve. Pain taught you to protect, not to push. And now here you are equipped with potential, but locked in an outdated mindset. You have to renew the way you see yourself. You have to talk to yourself different. You have to speak over your life like you believe greatness lives in your bones. You can't wait for evidence. You've got to declare it before you see it. That's how transformation happens. Not when your circumstances change, but when you change. When you stop thinking like a victim. When you stop letting the past set the temperature for your future. When you stop entertaining thoughts that don't match your calling. Look, it's not enough to just want to be great. You have to think like someone who is. That means when fear shows up, you don't bow to it. That means when you fail, you don't spiral, you study. That means when people count you out, you don't internalize it, you double down. That's mental strength. That's mindset. That's power. But too many of us want a strong life with a soft mind. We want championship results with a casual mentality. You've got to get intentional. You've got to guard your mind like it's sacred because it is. You've got to filter what you let in, what you listen to, what you speak. Because every thought you entertain is either building your future or breaking it down. If you're constantly telling yourself, I'm tired, I can't, it's too hard, guess what? You're reinforcing weakness. You're giving the weak version of you more air to breathe. But if you start telling yourself, I was built for this, I've got more in me, I don't break, then you start to reprogram your brain to operate at a higher frequency. Don't wait for motivation to fix your mind. You have to discipline it. You have to train it like a muscle. And just like your body gets sore when you train, your mind will resist when you try to level up. That resistance is proof that the old you is still trying to survive. But you don't owe the old you anything. That version got you here, but it can't take you there. Every time you choose to think different, when you speak life instead of death, when you choose vision over fear, when you pick gratitude over complaining, you're starving that weak mindset. You're cutting off the oxygen supply to the old way of thinking. And the more you do it, the more you start to feel a shift. You walk different, you talk different, you start attracting different because you are different. Your environment might not change immediately. Your circumstances might not flip overnight. But if your mind changes, everything else will follow because your mind is the command center. It decides what you reach for, how you respond, what you believe, what you fight for. If your mind is weak, everything else will crumble. But if your mind is strong, really strong, nothing can break you. Not the pain, not the pressure, not the delays, not the opinions. You've got to fall in love with the process of renewing your mind every single day. That means waking up and choosing purpose over passivity. That means looking in the mirror and saying, we're not going backwards. That means catching yourself when your thoughts start drifting into fear of failure and saying, nah, that's not me anymore. You've got to be your own coach, your own hype man, your own reminder of the standard you set. And you know what else? You've got to stay around people who stretch your thinking. People who don't let you stay in the same mental space too long. Because if everyone around you is feeding your comfort, you'll never challenge your mind. You need people who don't just tell you what you want to hear. You need people who remind you who you are when you forget. This is not about just being positive. This is about being powerful. This is about building a mindset that's so unshakable that no matter what life throws at you, you don't fold. You don't flinch. You don't fade. Because you've done the work in here and that work starts right now. You don't get to keep the same mind and live a different life. Change how you think or stay exactly where you are to. We talk about starving the weak version of you, leaning into pain, renewing your mind, but none of that means anything if you keep hesitating. If you keep sitting on the sidelines, if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect feeling, let me break it to you, the perfect time doesn't exist. You will never feel ready. You will never have all the answers. You will never be 100% sure. But you don't need all that. You just need to move. You just need to act. You just need to go. Execution is the separation. It's not what you know. It's what you do with what you know. Everybody's got a plan until it's time to actually show up. Everybody's got dreams until it's time to sacrifice for them. Everybody talks about purpose and passion, but when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m., when it's time to work after everyone else has gone to sleep, when it's time to grind while you're broke, tired, and unseen, that's where the weak version of you wants to tap out. That's where the strong version of you takes over. Some of you keep talking about what you're going to do. I'm going to start that business. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to apply for that position. You've been going for 5 years now. And the truth is, talking about it gave you just enough dopamine to feel like you're doing something. But you're not. You're not moving. And as long as you keep hesitating, procrastinating, making excuses, waiting for signs, you are feeding the weakest part of yourself. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You don't need anyone else to believe in you. You need to move. You need to execute because the gap between where you are and where you want to be, that gap is called action. And the only thing that will ever bridge that gap is doing the work, not planning the work, not dreaming about the work, actually doing it daily, without applause, without results, without comfort. Listen to me. The version of you that wins isn't the one with the most talent. It's not the one with the most resources. It's the one with the most consistency. The one who shows up when it's hard. The one who executes when it's boring. The one who finishes what they start. That version of you, that version is dangerous. That version is unstoppable. And the only thing standing between you and that version is the action you keep delaying. You don't rise by wishing. You rise by working. You don't grow by thinking. You grow by doing. And every single time you choose to take action, even when it's small, even when it's quiet, even when it's slow, you're putting nails in the coffin of the weak you. You're silencing the voice that says, not now. You're drowning out the fear that says, what if it doesn't work? And you're reminding yourself that you run this. But here's the reality. Action is inconvenient. Execution will cost you. It will cost you time, comfort, ego, sometimes even relationships. But that's the price of becoming who you're supposed to be. And if you're not willing to pay it, you don't get to complain about the life you chose by standing still. You say you want transformation, but you keep avoiding transition. You say you want freedom, but you won't leave your comfort zone. You say you want elevation, but you keep waiting for a lift instead of building your own ladder. That's not how it works. You've got to get up and move. You've got to be willing to fail forward. You've got to stop talking and execute. And I know it's scary. Doing the thing means you might fail. It means you might be judged. It means you might find out you're not as ready as you thought. But what's the alternative? Stay where you are. Keep watching other people live the life you were meant to live. Keep dreaming about it while you die inside a little more every day. Nah, that's not your story. That's not your ending. You've got to make a decision right here, right now. Are you going to keep playing small? Or are you finally going to move? Are you going to keep letting doubt decide your steps, or are you going to step in faith and take the shot? You can't serve two versions of yourself. One has to die so the other can live. And that decision happens not in your feelings, but in your actions. Execution is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's what separates the ones who almost made it from the ones who did. And I promise you, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. You just have to keep showing up. You just have to keep taking the step, even when it's shaky. Because forward is forward, and momentum is everything. Every day you delay, the week you get stronger. Every day you hesitate, the future you deserve gets farther. And you can't blame nobody else. Not your past, not your parents, not your environment, not your circumstance. Because once you know better, it's on you to do better. Once the vision is clear, it's on you to chase it. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you your destiny. But the second you decide to execute, to move in alignment, to act in spite of fear, to grind in spite of resistance, that's the second your whole life starts to change. So stop waiting. Move.